concert series here at Luther Memorial Church. My name is Ryne Cherry. I'm the vocal director of the Just Bach concerts. With us is also Allemande, our treasurer. We have a lovely program for you today of viola music featuring Bach and his contemporaries with our performer Micah Behr. He will come up in a few moments and talk a little bit about the program that he's selected. Just Bach, just a few announcements. Just Bach is a nonprofit organization. We put on these concerts free of charge so that anyone can attend, but if you are able, we would love for you to donate to our cause to help us to continue to put on these concerts. We'd appreciate it very much. You can donate at the back or online at www.justbach.org. We would like to thank Luther Memorial for the space and Andrew Schaeffer for the space. It's a wonderful space with all the instruments that they let us use. It's really, we could not find a better space to do this music, so we appreciate you guys very much. Also, we'd like to thank Dane Arts for supporting our concert series, and also Isthmus Eats as our corporate sponsor for this year. And lastly, Just Bach will be joining Luther Memorial for a Vesper service on October 27th at 4 o'clock. We will be performing BuxWV 79, and we'll have some of our Just Bach vocal soloists and our cellist, instrumental director Charlie Rasmussen. So that's October 27th at 4 o'clock here at Luther Memorial. It'd be great to see you there, and I'll hand it over to Micah.
Thanks, Ryne. Thanks for coming out, everyone. It's really great to have these noontime concerts available to the public on this space. One of the things that a free concert series like this allows for is people who just have a casual enjoyment of classical music to come in and see what it's all about. And on a campus like this, to have people who are experts in music and all sorts of things to come. And I just wanted to say a few words about historical performance and the music I'm going to play, in case you are one of those people who just wandered in off the street or don't have a lot of exposure to classical music. If you didn't know, you are in a concert that is practicing historical performance. And basically what that means is the instruments that we play on have developed in different ways over their long histories. And historical performance is a movement that seeks to perform the music in the way that is a little bit closer to maybe what it sounded like in the time that it was written. So this instrument is a viola that was built in 2006, but it has some features that are designed to make it sound like an instrument that would have been used in Bach's time. So the strings that I've put on are not steel strings like are used on modern instruments that are designed for large concert halls and really to project. They are made of sheet, gut, or synthetic materials. And so they sound a little bit more resonant. And also we tune the instruments slightly lower so the pitch is not quite as tight or tense as you might be used to hearing in modern instruments. The bow is also designed slightly differently. The shape of the bow makes it so that notes that are played toward my hand, which we call the frog, are very strong, and then it naturally tapers away as you get to the tip. And with the modern bow, those natural tendencies are sort of engineered out so that you can have a sustained pitch throughout every sound that you hear. I wanted to say a little word about Baroque ornamentation before I talk about the music I'm going to play. Baroque ornamentation is a very fun feature, I think, of Baroque music. In modern music, all the notation is pretty much written out, and the performers are expected to play the notation as closely to what's written as possible. But in the Baroque period, it was very common for there to be more of an outline and a repeated section where when you came back to the repeat, you could play little variations on the main melody that you just played. So as an example, if we were to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. That would be like the A section. You would hear it, and then when it came back, the performer could kind of do what they wanted with it. So there are a couple movements I'll be playing today that follow this form with repeated A and B sections. And if you want to sharpen your listening skills, when I come back to those repeated sections, you can listen for little variations that I might just put in on the fly. It's a thing I enjoy doing. It's a thing that can be a little bit intimidating. As classical musicians, we're trained to be very precise and follow specific patterns, but there's a lot of freedom in the Baroque era. In a way, it's like jazz. It's a dialogue between the composer and the performer. So the pieces that I've selected and put together are a suite of my own creation. I am a composer, and as a Baroque violist, there's not a lot of repertoire that was written specifically for the Baroque viola. There's not really any unaccompanied viola repertoire that I can think of. We often perform the cello suites by Bach. We play them on the viola, and the cello and the viola share a lot of similarities, so that works well. We sometimes play the Bach violin sonatas and partitas, but I thought it would be fun to explore the music of Bach's contemporaries and create an original suite based on music that Bach would have heard or composers who were influenced by Bach. The first movement I'll play is by Bach. It's from an organ piece, a prelude, and the prelude just kind of sets the mood of the suite and the key that we'll be exploring during the suite. The second movement is by a composer named Buxtehude, and he was an organist, a composer who lived before Bach, but Bach overlapped with him, and Bach revered him. The most famous story is that Bach walked 250 miles to hear Buxtehude play on the organ and to study composition with him. That will be one of the movements that is in the repeated form that you can listen for ornamentation. The third movement is by Pachelbel. If you've ever been to a wedding, you know Pachelbel's canon. That might be the only piece you've ever heard by Pachelbel. So I'm going to double the amount of music you know by this composer. It's a fantasy. I like to think of Bach's music as perfectly constructed. There's no note that is out of place. Everything has a purpose. Everything's very thought out. This fantasy by Pachelbel is kind of the opposite. It's lots of ideas, goes in many different directions, very free, just a very interesting, different kind of sound, but one that Bach knew. Pachelbel was the teacher of Bach's older brother, and Bach studied with his older brother. There's a slow movement by Friedrich Abel. This was a student of Bach. An interesting thing about this composer is that he teamed up with one of Bach's sons, and they put together a subscription concert series in London, and it was the first of its kind, not unlike our subscription or donation series that we provide here. And the final movement is a Passacaglia by Christian Friedrich Witt. Passacaglia and its sister form, the chaconne, are both forms of music that provide a little melody or a chord pattern that repeats throughout the movement. In this case, it's a 8-bar, so a not very long chord pattern that has several variations. And I chose this work specifically as the final piece because Bach wrote a very famous chaconne for unaccompanied violin. If you know Bach's work, or if you know the classical repertoire, the Bach chaconne is one of the pillars of the classical repertoire. It's an amazing 15-minute work that could be the entire just Bach performance. But this Passacaglia is a bit shorter and still gives us all the flavors that we hear in that other work, and might just kind of give us a sense of what Bach's musical world was like that he lived in. So thanks for coming, and I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you so much, Micah. That was awesome. I love when it's a concert not featuring vocal music because I get to learn of all the great music that doesn't include me, which there's a lot of. So we'll now do the chorale sing. This chorale is from BuxWV 48. I will speak through the German, and I will sing it once with Andrew, and then we will sing it a second time. Please join us the second time. The German is Herr Jesu Christ, einiger Trost, zu dir will ich mich wenden, mein Herzleid ist dir wohl bewusst, du kannst und wirst es enden. In deinen Willen sei's gestellt, mag's lieber Gott, wie dir's gefällt, dein bin und will ich bleiben.
Herr Jesu Christ, einiger Trost, zu dir will ich mich wenden. Mein Herzleid ist dir wohl bewusst, du kannst und willst es enden. In deinen Willen sei's gestellt, mag's lieber Gott, wie dir's gefällt. Dein bin und will ich bleiben. Herz Jesu Christ, einiger Trost, zu dir will ich mich wenden. Mein Herzleid ist dir wohl bewusst, du kannst und willst es enden. In deinen Willen sei's gestellt, mag's lieber Gott, wie dir's gefällt. Dein bin und will ich bleiben.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Have a great afternoon.